Welcome back to Big Mouth and fancy seeing you here, and welcome to the DCEU show, and you are very, very welcome. So fellow DCEU fans, I want you never to forget this, that while Collider were reviewing Aquaman, they took great pleasure in telling people to go and watch Bumblebee and Mary Poppins Returns instead of Aquaman. Now, whether you like Aquaman or not, as a professional critic or reviewer or blogger or whatever Collider call themselves, you don't stand there and tell your audience to go and watch another film. It is despicable. And it is what it looks like, what it seems like, and what it smells like. Agenda. And guess what? Not one person took any notice of their advice. Aquaman is approaching $1 billion globally. And these people are so upset. And guess what? There is nothing they can do about it. Imagine my horror. I don't like Collider. I don't like them. I think they're biased. I think they're agenda driven. And they have no idea what film should be, what a good film is, what a bad film is. They know nothing. And they didn't like Aquaman at all. In fact, one of them said that the underwater scenes looked like the underwater scenes in Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. At the time, the CGI was pretty good for that. I didn't see an issue with that, but come on. How can you trust these people? We know that VFX experts who did not work on Aquaman have lauded these visuals. And you've got these idiots trying to make fun. During the review, they're trying not to giggle. These people are an absolute disgrace and must not be trusted. None of these American bloggers are worth watching or following. If you're a fan of the DCEU, unsubscribe. Do not support Collider or any of these people. Now, Film Gob, which is a YouTube channel, and he's on Twitter as well, a very big DCEU fan. He did a beautiful video, showing us the arrogance and ignorance of these people. John Campier, who of course used to be part of Collider and part of the Sweaties, when it used to be good, kind of. But he was saying that Aquaman should change its release date immediately. Too crowded. They're going to lose out to Bumblebee and Mary Poppins Returns especially. What happened, John? What happened? You're such an expert. The film's about to gross $1 billion globally. What happened, John? Have you got an agenda? Or are you just an idiot? I like the John Campier show. I do. I enjoy watching it. Mostly his opinions are quite measured. A lot more measured than his former Collider buddies. But, you're supposed to be an expert, John. And you put your expertise at risk here. You said that Aquaman had to change its release date. What kind of evidence showed you that it was Aquaman that was going to suffer? Why Aquaman? And look what's happened. It's Bumblebee that suffered. It's Mary Poppins Returns that suffered, especially globally. Now, Poppins Returns is done okay domestically, but nowhere near the kind of box office that Aquaman's done. Now, if you want me to stand here and tell you what are the better movies, I'm not going to do that. The point is here that Aquaman was a massive movie and part of a successful franchise. Yes, I'm sorry, but it is a successful franchise. Yes, Justice League didn't make the $2 billion that everyone said it should have done, but still, it got out of jail with its box office. But even if you ignore Justice League, if you put together all the box office, the global box office of the DCEU at the same stage of the MCU, it's either not far apart, and I don't know exactly what it is, or it's either beating it at the same number of films, right? Aquaman's going to make a little bit over $1 billion, I would assume, but it's just funny to see these idiots fall on their faces. And they are idiots, they are haters, because as I say, it's one thing not to like a film. It's another to tell people it's so bad you must go and see the generic average Mary Poppins Returns, which is nowhere near on the level of storytelling and entertainment quality of the original classic Mary Poppins or Bumblebee. Bumblebee's an okay movie. I enjoyed it. But I enjoyed Aquaman a hell of a lot more. So you're telling people that Aquaman was so bad, it's not worth going to see. You are liars. You are agenda-driven. And now everyone, even America, are seeing through you. Because guess what, Collider? You told people not to watch Aquaman, and they did the complete opposite, right? These bloggers, these YouTubers, I'm one myself, but not a very successful one, obviously, but not as successful as them. But when you look at them, Grace Randolph, I've mentioned her a billion times, actually on a video where she's talking about the success of Aquaman, she lays into the DC Universe streaming service, right, and says that they have to beg people to subscribe. Grace, you are a hack. I like you. I like what you do. I respect your success and how you've done it on your own. You're a very clever businesswoman, no question. But you cannot help yourself, can you? They are not begging for subscribers. They're doing really, really well, really, really well. And when they go international, and once they're on the game consoles as well, they will be even more successful. And I'm sure you're going to take great pleasure when Disney Plus comes out to tell us Disney Plus is getting this and that and these subscribers. Yes, it's Disney Plus. You know, the DC streaming service, who's going to go for it? The DC fans. Obviously, I'm assuming there's more Disney fans all round than DC fans. I'm just assuming that. I could be wrong. But, you know, I've seen it. I've seen YouTube videos of it being demoed. It is brilliant and people are loving it, right? You can read comics on it. You can see old DC movies on it, original series, and this is just the beginning. And don't forget, we're getting a Warner Brothers streaming service as well. Be interesting how that does against Disney. I bet if that's successful, Miss Randolph won't be saying it. But these people, right, you know, we should have a platform within YouTube where these people are actually being honest with people, but they're so agenda-driven. Now, as I say, Grace Randolph claims she's a DC fan, but she also claims she's a Disney fan. Something tells me she's more of a Disney fan than she is a DC fan. I was a Disney fan growing up. I loved them, but they have become a monster that needs to be tamed. And very soon, their little platforms, their little franchises are going to fail. They're going to fail. And something else which is unrelated to the DCEU is the Harry Potter franchise. Grace Randolph takes great pleasure in saying J.K. Rowling isn't a very good screenwriter. And I've mentioned this, I think, on a video earlier. It just bugs me. It just bugs me, the constant attacking these bloggers do on Warner Brothers. Why? Why? Because more working class people are attracted to Warner Brothers and you're all, well, I'm not going to go into it. I've already got a strike on my channel. I can't afford another one. Who knows? I've probably said something to give myself a strike. I can't help myself. I'm as bad as Grace, but I'm passionate and I love films. Right, so we get away from that subject. Just don't forget, Collider told people not to watch Aquaman because it was so bad. Don't forget that, right? Now, I'm going to be honest with you. Aquaman is not my favourite DCEU film. I love Batman v Superman. I love Man of Steel. I think Wonder Woman, those three films, right, are my favourite DCEU films. And I definitely would put Aquaman after that, then Suicide Squad, then Justice League. But it's still a very enjoyable superhero film. And it's no worse, and probably comparing it with some of the MCU standalones, a lot better than them. So it's a really good, if you compare it to like the MCU standalone movies, it's a pretty good thing. So at the end of the day, right, at the end of the day, as I say, we want pundits and bloggers who are honest, who are not agenda driven. It's true. I'm a DCEU fan. I'm biased. But the difference is I admit my bias. I admit my bias. I talk my bias. I don't lie to you. You're watching this, you're DCEU fans. Predominantly, I would assume. You understand. You've subscribed. You're watching this video because you know it's a safe place. Because you're speaking with someone, you're watching someone who loves what you love. And it's important to have a safe space because these people are everywhere and they are enemies, sadly. Right, so we have heard that the Batman will start production, start filming in November. These people are going to have to tell us if Ben Affleck is going to play Batman or not. We need to know. I wanted to know over it, I've wanted to know since after Justice League. But it's, I really want to know where we stand with this now. And they've been trying to delay this announcement. They obviously know if Ben's involved or not. They obviously know if they've replaced him. Matt Reeves has already chosen his actor. Let's not pretend here. It's all done and dusted. Whether Ben's involved or he's not involved, those decisions have been made. And they're going to have to announce it. Now, if it's not Ben, they know there's going to be some kind of reaction. And if that's the case, they're probably worried about said reaction. But for me, we need to know now. We need to know. We need to move on from this. I love Ben Affleck. He's a lovely man. Obviously, he has his illness, his alcoholism. He's tried his best to fight it. His wonderful ex-wife, Jenny Garner, who's really been supportive. Big fan of Alias, by the way, as well. But whatever the case, we just need to know. I think the most likely scenario is that, well, I don't know. This is the thing. Maybe you can comment down below and tell me what you think. I mean, without us being biased, because we all love Ben as Batman and Bruce Wayne, but do we think he's going to be replaced? It's more than likely, isn't it? And we still don't know about Henry Cavill. These situations for me are messy, because what I'd say to Warner Brothers and DC and Walter Hamada, if you are going to arrest Superman, which I don't think you should or are, because you'd be bloody stupid, at least tell us. If you're replacing Henry Cavill as Superman, please tell us. You owe us that much. And I think it's the same with Affleck's Batman. We need to know now. We're coming to the home straight, very soon. This will, not soon, but by November. And it could be before November. I think the shooting will start and the production will start before November, because you can't trust all these reports anyway. So I think he's kind of mucking about with his script right now, but he's pretty much done. So that will start filming sooner rather than later. And, as fun as it's been trying to guess if Henry and Ben are still going to be involved, I think now we need to know. We need to know what's going on, because I think that's right. And I think that's proper. And I think that we need to move forward in a positive light. Aquaman, the positive consequences for Aquaman being so successful, put it to some kind of thing. Now, I was watching a video today, and this video was doing this expansive talk about Aquaman's success, and they were talking about John Berg and Jeff Johns, who are the ones who greenlit Aquaman, and how they were sacked and all of that. But what I'd say about that, yes, they greenlit it, but how the film turned out had nothing to do with John Berg and Jeff Johns. Jeff, big fan of Jeff. He's, focusing on the Green Lantern Corps. And that isn't the film we got in the end, because ultimately this was James Wan's film. And Walter Hamada has let him get on with it. I'm sure he had some kind of things he wanted involved in the film, but ultimately this is James Wan's fault, because the director doesn't say if this film flops, blame me. If he wasn't totally in charge, no director's going to say that unless he's suicidal and doesn't want a career afterwards. So it was interesting. I forgot what the YouTube channel's called, because they do these kind of expose kind of things. Very interesting, but I didn't agree with a lot he was saying. The problem is with a lot of these DCEU videos, they all know by talking they get more views by talking about the DCEU than the MCU. That's a fact. I've noticed it. I've noticed it a lot. So and because they're DCEU haters, they kind of, it's Midnight Edge. That's it, Midnight Edge, yeah. A good YouTube channel, by the way. I like it. I just didn't agree with what they were saying, because I don't know. It was like saying, well, look, Jeff Johns and John Berg are responsible for this, for Aquaman. Well, they're not. They might have greenlit the film, but that's pretty much all they did. We know that Zack Snyder cast Jason Momoa. We know that Zack Snyder brought James Wan on board as well. So, so it was a good video, but that aspect of it, I didn't agree with. So a lot of people are going to have lots of different opinions about the success of Aquaman. But the point is, it has been successful. It is going to be the DCEU's first $1 billion film. It's a big success. Of course, I'm going to do a special video when that hits, and that could hit in the next 2 to 3 days. I expect it to happen before the weekend. You're 940, so that could potentially, maybe, creep up to 1 billion by I'd say Friday. But if not, by the end of the weekend coming, it's gonna hit 1 billion. So it's very, very, very exciting. I know you're all as excited as me about this success, mainly because we can shut up a hell of a lot of people. They can still tell us the MCU have had loads of billion-dollar movies. Yes, I know, but we haven't. We can't be focusing on them. We can just focus on ourselves, that things are going in a more positive direction now. What this all means for the Snyder Cut, I really don't know. I don't know how Warner Brothers judge it. I'm sure that Warner Brothers know there's money to be made from the Snyder Cut, but whether or not this takes them over the edge to kind of say, yeah, I would guess that at some point this year we'll hear something, but I would think at this point they don't want to muddy the waters and they just want to focus on the slate that they're building towards, because if the Snyder Cut does something that is controversial, and let's be honest, as much as I love Zack, that's probably the case, they wouldn't want the waters to be muddied. So it'd be very, very interesting. I think Warner Brothers understand, as I say, that by releasing this film, they can make serious money on it. And I think it would even help what they're doing now to go back and say, maybe not even call it the Snyder Cut, call it the real Justice League cut. Then we can go back and we've got a great kind of, we've got a great arc, and it's all Zack's vision. And then if they want to move on from Zack, that's fair enough. These things happen. But I think Zack and us, the fans, definitely deserve to see the Snyder Cut. I think it's vital. I think it's vital. Warner Brothers and Walter Hamada really do need to right a wrong. So I hope beyond hope, we finally do see the Snyder Cut this year. And lastly, I alluded to this channel having a strike. I've mentioned it on another video, and it was something I said on Spider-Man Homecoming. I probably did go off on a tangent and get a bit aggressive. I want to apologise to all my subscribers, although I always stand by my videos and stand by what I say because they're my opinions. If any of you were kind of offended by what you saw, I'm truly, truly sorry. It is never my intention to offend anyone, but in life, when you open your mouth, you're going to offend someone. It's the way it works. I cannot come on here and mind my P's and Q's. If that means they block me from making videos, they block me from making videos, and I'll create another channel. Do you know what I mean? But I can't be anything apart from what I am. I'm very passionate about films and TV, DC, especially DC. But there's a lot of stuff that we've never even talked about that I'm passionate about. Films, TV shows. And so all that's to come in the future of this channel if they let me keep it. So it's only one strike. I just have to behave myself. The problem is with me, by the time I finish the video, I've forgotten what I've said. So I hope you enjoyed the DCEU show. There'll be another one next week. And please, please, comment down below. Please like the video. Most important of all, share the video. If you're a supporter, if you're a lover, share the video, share the channel, and tell people where I am. Thank you very much. And I'll see you soon.